everybody, and welcome to our She Decides podcast. I am Staci Swiderski. I am the host, and this is Michelle, the guest host.
Hi, I'm Michelle Carr, good friend of Staci's, and this is going to be fun. This is our official first podcast.
Yes, we're going to really dive in and really get to know for the audience to get to know us. We know each other pretty well, but actually I think this is fun because we're going to learn so much more about each other than we
know a lot about each other, but this is going to make us get to know each other even better.
It is. So it's really fun, and I feel that we have such a good flow, and that's why teamwork, and I think it's really going to just it's going to be a gift to really empower the ladies out there, and it's going to be fun. So let's get started with some questions and just some storytelling, and I'm excited.
Should we do rock, paper, scissors to see who goes first?
I think we should. Let's do it.
Okay,
you ready?
Count to three.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
You double dipped on that one.
1, 2,
okay,
ready? 3. Oh wait.
1,
2, 3.
Oh,
okay.
Here we go. My turn.
I'm glad.
That was a good one. Okay. So, first we'll go right to the intro. So I want you to introduce yourself. I know we had our little quick intro last week, but this is a really deep diving into what do we do and all of that. So I am going to ask you the first really easy question is, what made you decide to pursue a career in real estate?
So it was actually at the encouragement of a girlfriend who I had a really great job. I was working for a Fortune 500 company that was an electric supplier in the Chicagoland area, working for actually the CEO of the nuclear side. And I was married before, and so my spouse at the time was getting into building and developing, and he was using a friend of mine who was a veteran real estate agent. And she actually said, she's like, you can do this. You have the personality, you'd be really great at it.
And what year was this?
This was in 2001. Okay. So, well, actually, she probably approached me on this in like 2000. And I thought,
a long time ago.
It was a very long time ago. Seems like yesterday. But, I gave it some thought, and I thought, I've got a great job. Why on earth would I want to leave, a job that has a steady income, benefits, bonuses, like all these things, to take a leap of faith to go into real estate where it's
totally commission-based,
market-based. You really start, from the ground zero, trying to build a clientele, put your name out there. So I got my real estate license at her encouragement, and I said, I'll give it, like 6 months. I'll do it as a side gig. Well, within 6 months, this is while I was working full-time for
that was going to be my next question.
Yes.
Did you? Okay.
So I was like, let's just kind of see. But, the reality of it is I knew 1,010,000 people. So as soon as I just started saying, hey, I got my real estate license, it took off. And within 6 months, I thought, what on earth am I doing? Working for someplace where I have to go to the same office every day. I have a certain number of, vacation days a year. My income is solely based on what someone thinks I'm worth.
Right.
So every reason why I thought I shouldn't give up my other job all of a sudden became every reason why I wanted to give up my other job.
I mean, you're really your own boss.
Really your own boss.
But you have to hustle.
I had to hustle, right. So I literally resigned from my position, and I had the support of the guy that I worked for. He was leaving the company to retire as well, like eventually. So we just kind of worked out a deal that I would leave the company when he did and pursue real estate full time.
Now, do you think that you would have taken that step into real estate had your husband at the time not been a builder? Because I'm assuming you listed.
That's I did. And that's where all this came up. I think eventually I would have, because this was something that kept coming up to me from the girlfriend who suggested it. She was always saying it. Like, I think you'd be really good at this. And, I was like, But, I think it probably would have eventually. But, of course, at that time, this was early 2000s, where we live, real estate with, like, there was so much development going on and so many people moving to the area. And, I knew a lot of people. Yeah. So I think I would have done it eventually. But I think my former spouse having been a builder developer really jump started it.
I'm sure, and I'm sure also just the background of it, you
Yeah.
had a hunch of what it's about.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I really, yeah, like I said, it was a leap of faith, but 24 years later, it apparently has worked out okay.
And here you are.
Here I am, yes.
Sitting in this chair,
yes,
empowering women to,
wild.
live their best lives. Yes. I love it. I love it. Okay, so I have a few questions here
Yes,
for
go
you.
ahead.
So it's this is fun. Would you consider real estate being more of a male-dominated industry? My first guess, I would say yes, just because I remember when that's how obviously we met years ago,
right.
and I felt back then there were so many more men selling houses and in real estate than women, but that was 20 years ago. So I would love to.
So this is going to be a little history lesson. Don't fall asleep.
Okay.
So the National Association of Realtors was established in 1908. And at that time, so the National Association of Realtors oversees real estate, gives us like the code of ethics that we abide by, all the rules, etc. It was all men. All men. That's it.
I mean, in 1908, I mean, for sure.
1908, it was all men.
Yeah.
And 70 years later, so by the late 1970s, it was more than 52% were women that were part of NAR. So 70 years, and women took over accounted for more than 50% of real estate agents. Currently, the statistic as of 2024 is 68% of real estate agents are women.
So that really flip-flopped there, didn't it?
It did, and I think,
what do you think is the reason behind that?
Well, I mean, the flexibility, right? So anybody who, I think of a lot of real estate agents who get into real estate because it's flexible. They have kids, so they're able to still be moms, still be engaged with, their kids' lives, and also be producing an income and building a business.
Yeah.
So I think,
and even if it's part-time, if somebody's doing a part-time,
yes,
and they can make their own hours and,
yes,
and all that. But,
yeah. So I think it's probably as women, enter the workforce and they have children and families that they're taking into consideration, what can they do? It's certainly better than, working like retail,
right?
And then they're building set hours, etc., and they can build their business and work around their kids' schedule.
And then when you started real estate, because I know you had mentioned that you were at your other job for a while, until you finally resigned from there. But when you started it, you went full force, full time?
I went full force. This is back before text messaging. We still had beepers, right?
Facebook.
Yeah, we didn't have Facebook. We didn't have anything. So I literally,
beepers, oh my gosh, you just took me back.
I know. So there was no social media. There was no texting. I literally sent out handwritten note cards and my little paper business card that said, "Hey, I got my real estate license. I hope you'll think of me," and called people.
Do you still do handwritten?
I do handwritten note cards. I'm like, I'm an oldie.
Love it.
Yeah, I always go back to basics. There's a lot of new agents that come into the business who ask me, like, what do you do? How did you grow your business? What bit of advice would you give to me? And I tell them all the time, go back to basics. It's not a sales business. It is 100% a personal relationship business. And you don't build those relationships by just putting yourself on social media or a billboard or waiting for the phone to ring. You have to communicate in all the forms of communication. I send out 5 written note cards a day.
That is, and do you make that that's just your routine?
That is what I do.
You're doing it.
That is what I do.
So while we're on that topic, because I saw a couple of weeks ago, I saw it on one of I'm going to say your Instagram page, maybe in your Facebook. I think you should brag on yourself a little bit. I'm going to pull it out of you, but some of your accreditations, it's so impressive. So I'd love you to share that with me. You should be proud of that.
We were just having a conversation off mic about how it's hard to talk about it. It's easy to talk about ourselves, but we don't really view ourselves that way.
The number of homes sold.
Yeah,
all of
okay,
those. I mean,
so
I think that's something to be so proud of. You
yeah,
hustle to do that.
I
mean,
do
in Will County,
hustle. I will not ever say that I don't, because I do.
you hustle.
So let me see.
And you make it look so easy because you're so personal.
Yeah, thank
You're just
you. I
amazing what you
appreciate
do.
that.
So
So last year, and I need to stress, like, I don't have a team. It's 100% me. I don't have, if somebody's working with me, they call, they get me. Emails come from me. So last year I sold 38 houses, which, in our area is a big amount. Accounting for just, I was 100,000 short, but almost 13 million in real estate sales, which is a big deal.
that's a huge deal.
I mean, our average sale price in our market is 320,000. So it's like, it's a lot. It's a lot of homes that you have to sell. And a lot of people that you're dealing with, right?
Right.
So then I think the bigger thing is the company that I work for, we are national and we are also international. And then I'm like number 10 in the state for them. Actually, number 7 out of 10.
I was going to say,
I won't cut myself short.
Okay, I was going to
So,
say,
yeah.
because I saw that circle around
Yes,
that on
yeah.
your
So I won't
your
cut myself
Instagram,
short on that. But
circle that number 7.
so yeah, so for 2024, I ended up ranking number 7 in the state of Illinois for like our entire company, and then nationally in the top 3%. So it's good. I mean, like the numbers are like the numbers are what the numbers are, and I think of like what goes into doing that. And for me, it's not, I don't set goals in the beginning of the year. Every managing broker I've ever worked for has been 100% annoyed by that, because they sit down, what are your goals this year, Michelle? And it's the same every year. And when I go on vacation, and when I pay my bills, buy some new shoes,
I'm gonna sell some houses, and we're good.
And enjoy my profession
and be happy. Yeah.
Yep. And they're like, you don't have a number. I have no number. That's it.
Do you ever though have? I know you don't have a number, but do you ever feel like you need to do more than you did the previous year?
Yeah. Real estate's a very competitive industry. It's that's a big perception of a lot of people, and it's the truth. Because it's a very egocentric business. We're always, oh, I'm doing this, whatever. But we're also, we're competing. The people we work with are our competitors. So I compete with myself though.
Yeah. That's stay in your lane and just
stay in my lane. I couldn't tell you what anybody else is doing. I don't care what they're doing.
That's actually an amazing way to look at it.
Yes, I couldn't tell you anything. I mean, there are other agents who are friends of mine, because I have a lot.
I was going to say too, because these agents that you're working with, I mean, if you're competing against them, if that's somebody's frame of mind, you're working with them so much. I mean, one end of the deal, you're going to run into them all the time, whether the buyers or the sellers, and so
And we all have our favorites of who we work with. I mean, especially like the people who started out when I did. We have friendships and we have strong bonds with one another. So, and we'll cheer each other on, like, hey, I saw you have this listing, like, that's great, congratulations, or I saw that you did this. So you do develop the friendships, etc. But as far as the competitiveness goes, I just, again, I do not goal set. I'm terrible. I'm like really a bad salesperson when it comes to that. But I set no goals. But my competition is for me.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it is for me. It's like, okay, what could I have done differently last year, or what could I take from last year and build on this year? What worked?
Right. And how can you just improve yourself? And just without comparing to others.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, because comparison. Well, there's that quote: comparison is the thief of joy.
It's the thief of joy, absolutely. I mean, you're always going to see somebody that's maybe doing better, or that somebody is whatever, and it's just and it just brings you down. Why do that?
It does.
Yeah, why do that?
It does.
So with that, it leads into my next question for you. And what advice would you give to women looking to get into the industry that you're in, into
real estate?
Yeah. And I'm going to focus on primarily women.
Yeah. Well, you have to dig really deep into your masculine energy.
That's a good
I mean, that is, you have to be very firm.
Confident.
You have to be convicted in your thoughts and conversations. You just have to, I hate the term fake it till you make it, but you have to be very the boss.
Yeah.
And that's That's it. I wouldn't give up. It's real estate has like a high failure rate.
That was going to be one of my questions for you. Are there stats on that? How many people actually say if they're in it for, I don't know, 2 years?
Well, they say that I forget the exact number right now, but like I think it's less than 10% last 5 years.
Yeah.
And then like it's less than 2% last 20 years.
Well, look at you.
I know. I'm like, yeah.
You're killing it over here. You're killing it.
Yeah. So I would just say like my advice would be not to give up, find something that works for you in terms of, building your business. Just stay true to yourself. I mean, because that's the other thing. It's, as I mentioned, it's a very egocentric business. And there are a lot of people who promote like an image, and it's like, you just gotta be who you are. And I think that's why my clients like me.
I could assume, I can imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I think and I get that from clients. Clients will be like, you're just, you'll drop the F-bomb if you want to. Oh yeah, I'll tell you exactly how I feel and what I'm thinking. So I feel my advice would be just stay true to who you are, find what works for you, and really dig into your masculine energy. Like, even though it's a female-dominated business, you can't be a wilting flower.
Yeah. Well, and women can be tough too. Mm-hmm. So you definitely have to come prepared.
Yes, for sure.
And you're representing your client, so you really have to.
And that's the other thing too. I mean, that wouldn't really be a bit of advice, but maybe like you always have to put the other people before you. It's in the code of ethics. It's part of the industry, but a lot of people forget about that.
Yeah, your clients.
Mm-hmm. Without them, you don't have anything.
Right. So. Absolutely. Well, that was a good answer. I like your answer.
Yeah. What about you? I want to put you in the hot seat.
Okay, and then I'm going to go back to you, but okay.
Okay. Well, I feel like
I know. I got it. Listen, girl. I got lots here.
I know.
This is fun. I love this.
Yes. All right. So your personal journey from intended parent and egg donor to entrepreneur is inspiring.
Thank you.
Like I'm very amazed by Staci. I tell her that all the time. Like she juggles a lot, and I have no idea like how she handles it. But what was the defining moment that made you realize you wanted to start a surrogacy and egg donation agency?
Oh, hands down, when my husband and I had our son 19 years ago through gestational surrogacy. After personally experiencing it, it was, I was on cloud 9 after he was born, and I just couldn't snap out of it. And I'm like, you know what? This is my dream job. And in the meantime, because I was dabbling in real estate, that's how we met. Yeah. And I really enjoyed real estate at the time, but I had this new baby that we fought so hard to have. I mean, we went through so many failures and multiple surrogates, and we finally had achieved success. And
I imagine it was more difficult back then to find a surrogate.
It was, yes. It was pretty difficult for sure, because we didn't have the technology, that we have today. And I know that when I do something, I'm pretty black and white. So I'm going to go all in, right? Mm-hmm. So, and I knew with real estate, I didn't want to do it part-time. I'm either going to be number one or and so I just knew that wasn't for me, because I started real estate because I wanted to really build my own business. Mm-hmm. So I've always had that entrepreneurial spirit.
Right.
So when when we had our son 19 and a half years ago, I saw the demand and the need for more agencies.
Because of what you experienced.
Yes, personally. To that point, right? Yes. And I just knew that this is something, if I can help people build their family and just watch them, just their dream come alive. Mm-hmm. I'm like, this is amazing. This is what I want to do. Mm-hmm. And so it was just no turning back. And that's when I said, I'm not doing the real estate thing anymore, even though I enjoyed it, but this is where I need to be.
And look where you are. I mean, you just celebrated your 18th
year.
Yeah,
this month. It was 18 years of building families, and I've never looked back. And granted, it's been a lot of work. So I also didn't start doing this part-time,
Right.
So, but this was something I knew that I could really focus on without driving buyers around looking at houses or whatever. This was this was it. And also not long after we had our son, I was also an egg donor for our family. And
Oh,
so I was on both sides where I
yeah,
needed somebody to help us grow our family. And
right.
then after he was born and I was introduced to a couple, just it was a fluke. I wasn't set out to be an egg donor. I wasn't looking to do it. But a friend of mine at the time, she had a neighbor who was looking for an egg donor, their family, and they had a daughter that they had adopted, and but they wanted to expand their family, and she couldn't obviously utilize her own eggs. And I said, well, no, maybe I could do that. I never really thought about it, but maybe I could do that.
Isn't that crazy? Like
It's
with that
it,
conversation, right?
yes. And going through my own egg retrievals for our son, I knew I did fine
Yeah,
and produced eggs and we produced quality embryos and we were okay there. So I was already, I guess, pre-screened, if you will, because we
right.
jumped right into the egg donation. So yeah, so that really is obviously what opened the doors, and that family has now they're teenagers, but a son and a daughter through my egg donation. So
Really,
yeah, so all that together inspired me to
it's
really,
amazing.
yeah,
So
go
when
full force.
so I remember you leaving real estate to do this, and I was like, she's doing what? Like,
What is that?
like what on earth is she insane? Like, But I mean, I understood what it was all about, but I never, obviously, it's not something you hear people doing all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
So how do you even start
It was a lot of research.
that? Okay,
Thankfully, we had Google at the time, right? So I feel like I think it might have been dial up at that time. Like,
yeah,
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 all like cranking noises. But um, yeah, just having my personal experience, I knew kind of the
some avenues,
basics,
yeah,
but I had a lot to learn.
yeah, I
A
would
lot
guess.
to learn, like the expectations of fertility centers,
Mhm.
and even the whole business side of it. It
Right,
was a
so different.
whole another world. So, um, you know, 18 years into it, now I look back like thinking, oh my goodness, like that was a lot.
Yeah,
That was a lot. I remember sitting, into the fertility center, the first appointment I got, and it was a large fertility center here in Illinois, and brought them lunch. And this was my first meet and greet, like so we could get on the referral list, right?
That's what I was going to ask you. Is that how it became? Like, is that how you built
Yeah,
it? Okay.
absolutely. So I really marketed, the fertility centers, and it just really took off, for sure. But think about it. Back then, there wasn't podcast or
Right,
webinars,
or TikTok.
social, yeah, TikTok, Instagram. Like there wasn't
Right.
major social media, so it was really boots on the ground and just getting at it,
Word of mouth.
and then it just started, one thing after the other, and then and ton of parents started, talking about it, and with maybe their family, their friends, and so then it started, referral based, and then it was just onward and forward. And every year since then, opened the doors in 2007, but every year since then, we've grown.
For
And
sure.
so I knew, like, all right, this is pretty cool. Like, I can literally run a purpose driven business, make a living off of it. But it just came natural because I'm like, just these miracles are here. And I'm like, it's a feel good.
So speaking of that, like, because you asked me like statistics and numbers.
Oh yeah.
Like, what are your numbers? How many babies are there?
Yeah, so we've had well into over 1,500 babies born. More than that too, because think about it, we've had many recipients, for example, that they don't need because we have an egg donor, a servicing an egg donation.
Right.
So think about that. So many of the recipients have gone on to have even more children because they can carry themselves. So they have the frozen embryos, right? So yeah, it's
So the number is what?
Yeah,
like
1,500.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So across the U.S. and where else?
Oh, it's internationally.
Yeah.
So we have our first the first surrogate babies were international. Yeah, they were twins too.
Oh,
boys.
really?
Yeah.
Aww.
And still to this day, they're from Uruguay, and still from to this day, like we're social media.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah,
that was going to be a question I was going to ask you. Yeah,
so it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's just it's pretty.
Do most people stay in touch, or is it like a?
I would say it's 50-50.
Yeah.
Yeah, 50-50. It just, and sometimes, it's not constant staying in touch, but, maybe we follow them on Facebook or
Sure.
maybe they send us a Christmas card,
Yeah,
holiday
so you can
card
see
every
the
year,
kids,
or when their
yeah.
birthday is. And so it's really inspiring. Yeah.
For sure. I mean, it's
Yeah.
amazing if you think about how many families you're a part of, right?
Yeah, it's definitely, it feels good to know that we are creating these generations to.
Yeah, it's inspiring and it's impressive.
Oh,
Like,
thank you. I have a great team that, I couldn't have grown without my amazing staff, and they're so passionate in what they do. And so I think, again, purpose driven, as long as you're focusing on being ethical and really showing that compassion, you're going to do just fine.
Yeah. Okay. Good answer.
All right. That was a long-winded
No, it was
answer.
I mean, because I think a lot of people don't know how you got into it.
Yeah. It's
right?
Yeah.
And that, I mean, this is yours. Like, this is your baby. Really. Like, you have created this.
And now this baby is an adult, 18.
Is 18 and growing and growing and growing still. I mean, you have really we've talked about this, like, you have no intention of like slowing down. Like, so many people ask me, like, when are you going to retire? I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that. Like, we just, both of us, our personalities are not.
Yeah, I'm very focused driven on that, and I think mentally it's good for us to keep working, right?
Oh,
but when you really love what you do, it's
not really work.
Yeah, it's not really work. It's just I feel blessed. I'm very lucky to do what I do.
Right. I mean, you can tell that you love it, because it's not only what you're doing here, but like, you're just growing your business into other aspects. And
and that's something that I really I'm grateful for. That, again, my team, and I have a great team that has allowed me to step aside and really not work so much in the business anymore, but more on it and from the outside perspective, where it's opened up.
It takes a lot of trust.
It does. It does. Yes, it sure does.
But you're a good people reader, so right? You are. We have to. Okay, so how did your personal experience shape the way that Family Source Consultants operates today?
Oh, goodness. So for that, I feel that's a really easy question to answer. And that is really just communicating with people with such empathy and compassion and support. And that's not just the intended parents. We're talking supporting the surrogates, supporting the egg donors. And so I feel I was pretty lucky to witness both sides of that. Like I said, being an egg donor and and being a surrogate. So I've been on both sides of the fence, and I just know the way that my experience was, and how if I would have had the opportunity to work with an agency that was super compassionate, and my journey would have, it would have been less stressful. But I feel all that shaped me to who I am and why we're here. But definitely that's, the personal side of it has, that plays major effect into how the agency is ran. And my staff, again, I mean, they're amazing people, and big hearts.
Well, you've had great success. I mean, 18 years in something like this is amazing. So,
I sleep like a baby, though. There's a lot of agencies out there that have been doing it.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. 30, 40,
I mean, but are they privately owned?
I'd say a couple of them, but there's some that definitely are not.
Okay.
So yeah.
Interesting. All right. All these things I'm learning.
The business side of it.
Yes. So let's see. What advice would you give to other women looking to start their own business or take on a leadership role?
Oh, my advice is do it. If it's something that you want to do, listen to your gut and just do it. Whether it is starting a business or you are moving up the chain and in your career, do it, and without apology. And kind of like don't compete against other people. Stay in your lane, and just what you know.
Right.
And I feel that, and don't listen to the naysayers or negativity.
Because that's something. Because so many people, like, when you're going to start something new, it's what if this happens?
Yeah.
What if
you can talk yourself out of something really quick?
Right. And I had people say that to me, and I still have people say it to me when I think I'm going to try like growing my business to a different level. They'll say, yeah, but what about this? What if this happens? What if that happens? Yeah, what if it doesn't?
Right. What if? That's right.
Like, what if it doesn't?
And what if it doesn't? And what if something really cool happens? And if you didn't take that leap, you would never know.
I mean, if we operate from a place of fear,
that's no place to.
We'll never do anything.
Right. No. And and this is kind of cliche, but it's so true that you really do grow outside of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
If you just stay where it's nice and warm and fuzzy and that's a safe place, that's okay. If you don't have any ambition to grow and you're comfortable with that, awesome. But if you really want to, do something that is more courageous, you have to be okay with being uncomfortable.
Right.
Because once you nail it, you're like, okay, that wasn't so bad.
Right.
I can do more now.
Well, we know so many people who, I mean, I do, and I'm assuming you probably do, who say, I should have done this, or I could have done that, or, oh my gosh, so-and-so talked me out of this when I wanted to, you know, and it's like, why?
Yeah, no, and I think too, it's really important to understand that to get to that place of success, and people's successes look different, right?
Mm-hmm.
But whatever your success is, it's not easy.
No.
It's not an overnight thing, and it's going to be a lot of failures before you hit that success. But that again is what makes it that much more meaningful and rewarding for sure.
Right.
You see nowadays, especially with on social media and Instagram and all these other platforms, people who have never they've never owned their own business, but they are telling, they're making a business telling people how to run a business. I'm like, I don't know, is that somebody who I really want to learn, who I really want to mentor me?
Right.
So, and I'm a firm believer in mentorship. So get a mentor that has achieved what you want.
Right.
Yes, that they have experience and they've really dominated. And because I've had a few mentors and I still do, and that literally has given me so much faith to just like, all right, this is okay, somebody that you can complain to, and they're just like, quit your complaining, let's just
get on with it.
Let's get the game. Let's get it done.
Well, you've done a great job, Staci.
Well, thank you.
So let's see. What else?
See, that's the beauty of social media. A lot of people don't show all the stuff that ain't so great.
No,
right?
They don't.
They're just showing the pretty.
They don't. Yeah, they don't show like when they're up at 2:00 in the morning.
Right. When I'm working, around the clock and all that. But
so speaking of around the clock,
yes,
are you more of a morning person or a night owl?
I am a morning person. Yes, definitely. Morning person.
Yeah, I would have guessed that.
How about you?
Oh, I'm a morning person.
Okay.
I'm in bed by 8:00.
Oh, isn't it the best?
Yes, yeah. I'm definitely a morning person. I cannot stay up late, like I'm falling asleep watching TV. I look forward to starting the day.
Yeah.
I'm more of a up with the sun, down with the moon kind of girl.
Right.
Like it's,
I go to bed excited to start the morning.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. I love to work. So
I mean, now there are times where I wake up in the middle of the night worrying about something or thinking about something, and I'm like, I'm just going to go take care of it right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I definitely am a morning person.
Yeah.
Do you have a routine in the morning?
I do. I'm kind of one of those nerdy people, but it's nothing exciting. It's pretty boring. But,
what is it?
And it's not. It's probably not. I wouldn't advise.
I want to know.
And depending too on my meetings, but yes. I'm not a get up and exercise person. In my routine, really, it's probably not ideal because a lot of people would probably say against it. But
it works for you. So
it works for me. So this is no judgment, right? That's what's cool about our podcast.
Yes, you get to decide what you do.
I was going to say it's all about she decides. It's living your life on your own rules.
Morning.
That's right. But my morning, I grab my phone right away and I knock out some important emails.
Do you?
I do. Whether that's 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, I'm an early morning.
Okay.
And my routine, it's not getting up out of bed and going to my desk. I will grab my phone and I will just look at some emails that I know are really pending. I don't want to slow somebody else down.
Yeah.
That are important, priority, and I get those done. And so I know a lot of people are like, don't even bring your phone to bed.
Right. Oh, well, they're crazy.
Yeah. I couldn't do it. I mean, my phone, I'm answering emails or I'm working on something on my phone before I even have my first cup of coffee, which is crazy. Yeah.
Well, it works.
But it works.
It works.
Yeah.
Wow.
And just depending on my day, I mean, it could be an hour, maybe 2 hours, but I'm so productive.
Yeah. Well, it works for you. And it's like, some people say, don't do that, but who are they? It's working for you.
It's whatever works. Yeah. If somebody wants to get up at 5 in the morning and go hit the gym and that energizes them.
Yeah, that is not me.
Yeah, that's not me.
No, that's not
me either.
That is not me.
No.
That
doesn't seem so fun.
No, that sounds like torture.
I know.
Yeah, it's awful. Awful. I have a little routine. that I do, which is
Okay.
exactly the opposite of
I
yours.
was gonna ask
Yeah.
because since you are a morning person too.
But
So
mine is opposite of yours.
really,
It is.
but I mean, you fire out emails early though, because I've been
I
on the
do.
receiving end. Okay,
Yeah.
so what is yours?
Mine, I slow start my morning.
Okay.
This is gonna sound so hokey.
I slow start my morning.
I do. I slow start my morning, and it's gonna sound very hokey and weird, but this is us
again,
getting to know one another,
sides.
and it's also us getting to know each other a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
So so I have a little dog that I have to take care of. So he goes outside first.
Enzo.
Yes, Enzo's outside first, right? But the first thing I do is I light incense.
Is that like
This is the God's honest truth.
I was gonna.
I light incense.
Is it like an aura that you like to do?
Yes. It's like I light a little stick of incense.
So you wake up and
Yes.
then you're just like, I'm like, that's.
I wake up and I'm like, get the little dog.
Is it an energy thing?
Yeah, it's just like.
Or is it a scent thing?
It's a scent and energetically, it's like a calming.
Do you do this before you let Enzo out?
Yes.
Okay.
Like on my way to the door, I light this little stick of incense.
That's probably the first I've ever heard.
Yes. And then take care of him for a minute, and then I do 20 minutes of yoga every morning.
Well, I mean, that's impressive. That's exercise. It's not.
It's not really. It's not exercise.
Yeah, but that's yoga's good.
But it's I use this little app. It's called Insight Timer. So it's like they're moving meditations, so you don't have to just sit and with your eyes closed and fall back asleep. So no, I do 20 minutes of yoga.
I love that. So it's like part of the routine. You have your incense, and then you have the yoga, and that's like a mental
Yes. I mean, for many, many years, my mornings were chaotic. And that's going to go back to when I was married.
Yeah.
Because the alarm would go off at 5 a.m. and the snooze button would get hit 4 or 5 times, and then the news was on, and then the coffee was going, and then the phones were ringing.
It's like Groundhog's Day, right?
Yes.
Every morning.
And it was like chaos. And I was like, I can't start my day like this. Like, I set the tone of my day.
I mean, it is so opposite of mine because you're setting your tone is calm. It's calmness. Though.
Yes. Now by noon it might
the craziness starts happening.
But I try to set my mindset to be very calm. So this has been going on for 2 years straight.
But I think though your personality though is very calming. I think so. Yeah. I mean, your voice, everything is just very calming.
Oh, I don't see. We view ourselves very different.
Yeah. You're very calming.
Really?
Yeah. So
thank you.
Your morning routine is working, man. Keep it up.
So that's how I start my morning, and that would probably shock a lot of people, but maybe not. People who are around, come to my house. They're like, oh yeah, they call it the Zen Den.
This is the Zen Den. Yeah, to say the Zen Den.
Yeah, and it's so that's how I start my mornings, and then
complete opposite.
Then I'm on the phone. As soon as I'm done with all that, believe me, there are times where I'm on the ground, grab the phone, read that,
Right.
But usually I'd say by 7:30.
I was going to ask, what time do you wake up?
Oh, I'm up 5:30, 6 o'clock. Yeah. At 6:30 at the latest, but by 7, I'm probably reading emails and stuff like that. Yeah. So it's just I like a quiet start.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Which is that, I feel like when your day starts that early, that's why I'm tired by 8.
Are you a coffee or a tea person in the morning?
Both.
Okay.
Both. I don't have a preference in one or the other, but today it was tea, yesterday it was coffee.
Okay.
I'm just kind of whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
As long as it's warm. Right?
Yes.
Especially in this cold.
Yeah, I used to be a Coke in the morning girl.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
But and then I read an article that if you drink a can of Coke every day for a year, you gain 10 pounds.
I'll never forget that. And it was Coke, not Diet Coke.
It was
straight
Coke.
Up Coke. Okay.
Straight up Coke.
Okay.
It would be first thing in the morning. And I'm like, what are you doing to yourself?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That was a long time.
Mine's Diet Coke. But I drink the Diet Coke in the morning too. But after I have coffee.
Yeah.
So if I have breakfast, I'm having it with the Diet Coke.
Crazy. Oh my gosh. Well, there's our morning.
There we go.
There's our morning. And then, forget about bed. It's as soon as I lay down.
I'm out. Yeah.
I am out.
Yeah.
So what activities or hobbies do you do to unwind or recharge? I mean, you have kids that are involved in things and grandkids, which is hard for me to say about you.
I think it's so cool too that here we are, we're hosting these, our podcast together because our lives are so complete opposite. I mean, think about it. I have
Oh
4 children. I
gosh.
have 3 grandchildren. I'm married. You have no children. You're
Yes.
single. You
Oh
have Enzo, your
gosh.
doggy. But
It's
other than
sad
that, we're
over on
so.
this side of the room.
So I mean, maybe that's why your life is a little calm over there in the morning.
You
can,
could be right.
yeah,
Yes.
but no, what do I do for like hobbies and enjoyment and fun? I love to be with my grandchildren. They're
Who
little
are all
babies.
adorable, by the
Oh, I
way.
love them. Thank you. They are just so much fun. Um, and having grandchildren it's what everybody says it is. You can send them home, like I mean, because then you want to go to sleep.
Right.
But they're so much fun and they're adorable. So that's probably definitely any time when I have the free time, I like to snatch them and spend time with them. And of course, my adult children are fun too. But we just have a really packed like life.
You do.
We really do. So I mean, I work a lot, and and probably don't have to work as much as I do because again, I have an amazing team, but I'm doing other things too with work now. But I love it so much. So I mean, if I could work 24 hours a day, I would because if I didn't have the need to sleep. So but I also try to take a break when I can. And my husband's amazing, so we like to do in the morning. That's part of my routine too. After he brings me coffee in the morning, every morning he brings me coffee. He knows I'm working.
Sweet.
And so we have our alone time together and quiet time. Our youngest is in college and plays baseball, which is starting up here next week. And
he's an amazing baseball player.
Thank you. Yes, he is. We love watching him. I'm very proud of him. Yeah, he's just an all around amazing kid. And but yeah, so I mean that starts here next week, and that goes until May? I mean, and then he goes into summer ball, and then it's fall ball. So we have a really jam packed life. We really do. But in the summertime, we recently moved into a new house in March. Thank you very much. Of
Beautiful.
course,
I love
of course. Michelle sold it to us. She was you were our realtor. It wasn't your house.
Is it? No.
She sold it to us. No, you found it for us, and
as soon as I walked in, I'm like, this is Staci all over it.
Oh my gosh! And I'm such a homebody, and when looking at homes,
I know you are.
That's why I really was picky on the home that we ultimately settled in, and because I just love being home. But obviously, as you know, it has a pool, and so the summers, I cannot wait. So that is a guilty pleasure. When it's hot, I just love to be home and in my pool.
That's awesome.
So anyway, that was another question that you asked me. That was a long answer. Sorry about that.
No,
I take up our whole show talking about my best friend.
No. It's good. Like, I mean, and I know you're a homebody because you say that.
I am such a homebody. A lot of people think I'm social, and I'm not.
Right.
I'm really not. I mean, I think too, and we're very similar like this. Too,
oh yeah.
Because you talk to people all day long, so do I for work. But when you don't have to, it's nice to just be home and talk to nobody.
Yeah. Listen, well, as you said, like my life couldn't be any more opposite. I mean, it's just me.
Yeah.
There's no spouse. If anyone knows any nice single men, just and it's me.
Nice gentleman.
Yes, and then so it's me and the dog, and that's it. Right. I mean, I have a good group of friends and a large social circle, but I don't go out with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like I just try to control who I'm around.
And I think too that is obviously when you have a very successful career, right? And then the older we get, our circle kind of becomes a little smaller.
Big time.
And it's just kind of precious. It's
like a precious thing. It is because like our time is very it's the only thing that we really have.
It really is. And it goes by quick, as we know.
Right?
Yes. We talk about this all the time.
Yes, it goes by so fast. So
what do you do though for fun?
Oh gosh, nothing.
No. Watch reality shows.
The Kardashians.
Speaking,
are
they're coming
on there.
February 6th.
Yes. So let me see. For fun, honestly, if it's in the summertime, I'm outside.
Yeah.
And that's like I'm walking, I'm bike riding. Occasionally I'll go kayaking, but not as much lately.
And I think too, being from Chicago area where we're at, we appreciate our summer much because we have such cold winters.
I don't want to book anything. I want to just be able to be outside.
You just want to wake up and smell. You go outside and you feel the heat, and just like I just want to take it all in.
Right.
Yeah.
But to unwind, so I read, and then this is going to sound so juvenile, but I do diamond art.
Oh, that is not juvenile.
You know what it is?
Yes,
You know those little dots?
Yes.
So I started doing this at the suggestion of my niece, who's like this lovely young woman, 22 years old. She's like, I really think you would enjoy doing this. And
I got sucked right in.
I got sucked right in, and I was thinking like, oh my gosh, like this is so.
Well, share what it is.
So if you're not familiar, it's like, there's a there's like a picture on a piece of paper kind of thing, and they're numbered or they have a symbol, and then there are little tiny dots that are like crystals that coincide with those numbers. So it's almost like what was that called? Like knitting, was it cross stitch?
The cross stitch.
It's almost like cross stitch, but with little tiny dots that are crystals that are the size of the tip of a pen, and you literally set them with this little tiny tool. A lot of kids do it.
See, I feel that's a good relax.
I have to tell you something. Because
your yoga and your incense.
Well, I was just going to tell you. I'm going to go. That's going to come full circle here.
Oh.
So I looked at it as being like kind of a juvenile thing, because there are like a lot of kids that do it, but you can get very difficult patterns that are very intricate, and they're advanced, and whatever. Like I did one for a
How
friend.
long does it take?
Oh God, it depends. Like I did one for a friend that was what is that Van Gogh painting, like all the blue, Starry Night. I mean, that took me 4 months. I did another one for a girlfriend of mine. It was all black and white. It was the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, cool.
But it was like, 24 inches tall by like 18 inches wide, right?
That is so cool.
So I don't keep any of these, by the way. When I do them, I like put them in a frame, and I'll either like distress the frame or find them. I go to like, thrift shops, and I like do the frame specific for that picture, and I gift it to them unknowing.
That is so cool.
Yes.
And they don't, and so it's like a surprise.
It's a surprise.
And it's like,
yes.
And it's meaningful.
Yes.
You
know,
it's
like,
something
what are you doing? How long did this take you? Oh, 6 months, or whatever. But
those are like the best gifts.
Yes. And so, I've made bookmarks for friends and, things like that. But where I was going with this,
you do know I'm going to be waiting for my next.
Yes, I know. I will. I'll make you something. So, but here's what I was going to tell you is when I first started doing this, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so juvenile. Like I'm sitting here putting dots on color coordinated patterns. But while I do this, by the way, I listen to podcasts. So just so you know, right? Okay. So I was talking to a friend of mine who happens to be a former Buddhist nun. She's a TED speaker. She's authored a couple books, and she's an artist. I met her in Arizona in 2020. And I was telling her, I'm like, Shay, this is the most juvenile thing I've ever done. And she said, stop right there. Are you enjoying it? Yes. She said, okay, what do you think I do? Because she is a pointillism artist, which a pointillism artist is where you do one dot at a time to create a big picture.
Like a huge masterpiece. Right?
A huge masterpiece. But with each dot, they put an intentional prayer into it.
That's a lot of prayers into that.
And she's a very well-known artist. And she said, Michelle, this is what I do. I do pointillism art. You're doing the same thing. So she was the one that said to me, what I want you to do is instead of sitting here thinking with each dot, this is juvenile.
Yeah, turn that around.
Turn it around and be like, okay, why am I doing this?
Yes.
And especially because I give them away, like think about why you chose that one for that friend. And like your intention should be like why you thought of them and what you want them to gain from it. Or enjoy from it. So I was like, from that point on, I was like, this is not juvenile. This is my
this is my thing.
This is my thing. Yes. So
I'm proud of it.
Yes. So it's that's what I do to relax. Isn't that crazy?
No, it's awesome.
So even my relaxation is very quiet. I like I'm telling you, I think because of being fast-paced business and having to be on with all of that, my relaxation, everything is.
I was going to say, so yeah, definitely something calming because you want to offset that.
Very calming.
Yeah, very busy days. The days that you have to.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh my gosh, I like wrestled with that forever. So I do diamond art. So when you're at like the craft store and you walk past that.
I'll think of Michelle.
You'll think of me. I'm not doing like the cats or anything like that. So
I love it.
Yeah, so that's what I do to relax.
I never knew that. How long have you been doing that for?
I started it 3 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not every night. I mean, I always have one sitting like in the kitchen, like covered up if I'm not working on it. But it's always in that little corner of the table. Then when I'm free, I did it 2 nights ago.
There you go.
I was like, you know what? I put a podcast on and I went to town.
You were so.
Yeah,
I love it. So there you go.
Yes. So there you have it.
Don't party too hard over there, Michelle.
No, I did not. Oh, yeah. No.
I love it.
So,
I love it. Yeah. I mean, I have a few more questions for you.
Go ahead.
I mean, and I have some fun questions too.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a lot here, and I know like we could probably spend 3 hours on this
podcast,
but this one, it's kind of back to the real estate. But what's the most unusual or surprising thing you've ever encountered while you were showing a home?
Oh, well, the paramedics had to be called.
Oh no.
Yeah. So it was,
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay,
so like nobody was dead, but yeah. So the most unusual thing, I mean, I've had funny things for sure.
Yeah.
But I think the first thing that stands out, 2 stories would be like somebody who, it was a good thing we showed up. So yeah, so they needed some medical assistance and lived.
Yeah. So you had to call 911?
Yeah, call 911. My poor clients, I'll never forget them.
Did they end up buying that house?
No.
Okay.
No, they were like, we are just gonna skip right over this. Oh my God. Like that's the first thing that comes to my mind.
I mean, you didn't hesitate. You're like, yeah.
That is
you probably have many.
I have many. I mean, like, people's personal artwork is always fun and funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to be very careful now though, because everybody has videos in their
right,
so,
right.
Unusual and whatever, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is like a almost tragedy, but then there's also funny things that transpire, but you just gotta be very careful.
Right.
Because, you're on video and all of that, so you don't want to be caught making fun of someone's art,
right,
in a funny way,
or like maybe the horrible decor.
Yes, because then it's like, oh God, or whatever.
And with these Ring doorbells anymore, and all stuff,
you have to be very careful.
You have to be very careful.
So lots of unusual art, lots of unusual decorating, of course. But the first thing that comes to my mind, and I remember the address clearly. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
Wow, that is wild.
You have to always be thinking.
Yeah, you always have to. Just don't know when you open that door what to expect. So I have another question for you.
Yes.
If you could live in your dream home.
Yeah.
Anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the
world. Where would it be? And what type of home would it be?
So if I could live anywhere, I would definitely be in Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just really love like the relaxed.
Yes.
I love
life.
Yes.
Enjoy life.
I've been very fortunate to travel to Europe a few times, and it's very relaxed, they work just to have a life. Their work ethic is strong, but they build everything else around, like dining as an event.
They certainly, for sure.
Yeah, fast food is not like what we have, and their food is totally different. But it would definitely be in Europe. I've been fortunate to live in some very beautiful houses. But I think, like the energy of a house is what's really important. Mm-hmm. So it's where I live right now is great. Yeah. I mean, it's not the biggest house that I've ever lived in.
But it's just you and Enzo.
Yes. I mean, I have lived in some big, beautiful places, but I have a very modest sized place right now, but it's like decorated, fantastic.
And it's like
it's homey,
your safe place.
It's a vibe. Yeah. It's, like I said, I mean, it's, so I think like, obviously like home trends change a lot and what people put into them and, decor and all of that. But I think for me personally, it could be the smallest of place. And as long as I'm comfortable.
Right.
And it's, like safe and
it's like your style, like your the decoration, like how you have. I think that is.
I mean, now if I were to design a house to sell it, it would be probably a little, which I've done several. I would probably answer that a little bit differently, but for me personally, it could be like a studio apartment. I'd be totally fine.
It's funny too, because I think a lot of times, at least for me. And my husband, we are always, and I'm probably, maybe I won't blame him so much. It'll be more me. I'll speak for myself, not for him so much here, because he would be like, is this me or you? But I'm always like, I don't know if I'm ever content. But it took me until very recently to be content in where we lived. I mean, we lived in the same house for many years, for 18 years,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you did.
But we always, that whole time, I was always like, I want to be in Florida, or I want to be here, I want to be there. And so, and as you know, we moved when, when our son was a senior and a little closer to his school. And then when he graduated, we moved, and then we're going to be in Florida for 6 months. And I feel like sometimes you think you want something, and then you do it, and then you're just like, yeah, I did it, done it,
Yeah.
check. And I always, I don't like Illinois, but now you know what? I love Illinois. I don't know. I love the Midwest. I love the people, and I'm so content here.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
I
I would have not
said
said this. Like I would have never said this like 2 years ago.
Staci, I was the same way. I mean, wow, that could be really deep. I was the same way because, I had a place in Florida for 10 years and I was splitting my year.
Naples, right?
Yes, yeah. And I love Florida. I mean, I love the weather, but I mean, it was not, 10 years of having a house, I made like 3 close friends, right? So, and I was always like, I want out of Illinois. I want to go somewhere else. I want to do this, do that. But really, I was like, after going through like a big life change of like, no longer being married and all these things, I was like, okay, where am I really happy? And it's like, I'm happy here because this is where my business is. This is where my closest of friends are. And I can go do those other things.
That's what I was going to say when you had said Europe. I'm like, but the cool thing is, and like you had said at the beginning of the podcast, was like, traveling, and your goal is to just be happy.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like if you want to travel, like you can travel.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the cool thing about
it. Yeah. I don't know. I think as we get older, it's, you just become more content with what you have.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I think you appreciate more for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And so, it's all decisions, right? This is the whole point of the podcast, right?
That's right.
But it was, sometimes you have to do what you think you really want and experience that to find out that's really not it.
Right. Yeah. We bought a house, or we bought a place in Florida, and we were really going to try to, I'm still working and all that. I was by no means going to retire.
Right.
But thankfully we can, work remote now, and I have a great team and all that. And I was there 2 weeks and I was so miserable.
Were you
like,
bored?
I get out of here. Yeah.
I was bored.
I couldn't do it. I could not do it. So, we still have it. And my husband, he hasn't been back there since February.
Yeah.
So it's just,
yeah, so it's hard,
but I do love it.
Yeah.
I like to go for short visits.
But
I could live there full time.
Yeah. So I think, I also feel like, everything is, well, with you, like your family's here.
Yeah. And that was hard too.
Like,
I can't.
You start to miss out on a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. So many questions for you, and we might have to speed it up because we could be.
I know we could be here forever. Maybe we just do a part 2.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to do a part 2 probably eventually here. Just kind of weave these into our next ones. But I do want to have I do have a couple though I think that are fun. That I want to ask you.
I'll keep the answer to 30 seconds or less.
Yeah, that's how we'll do it. Yeah, we'll what's the most rewarding part of helping families find their forever homes?
Oh, the most rewarding part, yeah, similar to how you said, that you get like follow them on Facebook, etc. Is like you're part of their life.
And a huge decision.
Yeah, it's like it's a huge decision. They trust me, and then I just become like part of the family.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hey, we're having a Christmas party or we're having a cookout. Come, and they're always like, "This is our realtor." They're always excited.
Well, and helpful too, because then you get referrals.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a win-win there.
Right, but it's
you
like
meet amazing people. I'm sure.
I meet a lot of amazing people. I always say that. So yeah, I would say it's just like being part of their story. Like every day they pull up, they're coming someplace that hopefully they love.
Right.
And when they think about that, they do think of me.
Yeah.
I get little notes from people.
Yeah.
Every so often.
So yeah, it's definitely a feel good.
Yes, it's a feel good.
Another. So if you weren't though the amazing and successful real estate agent that you are, what career do you think you would have gotten into?
Oh my gosh, I wanted to be a stewardess.
Really?
Can you believe that?
Oh my gosh, I can actually picture that.
Like I wanted to be like, I should say a flight attendant, but yes, can you believe that? Like that was what I always said I wanted to be. And then, like I went professional.
Yeah.
And that is still always in the back of my mind. And I had a friend say that to me recently. Like, if you were to ever get out of real estate, you should get into being a flight attendant.
I can picture you.
And I'm like, I'm too old now, but
you're never too old.
Yeah, you're never too old.
Never too
I'm
old.
like, maybe I could do like one flight a month.
Maybe it can be an international flight.
Right. So I think
a few days and then
it would be anything to do with travel, honestly. So maybe not necessarily something like that, but I have always been interested in doing like tours, being a tour person,
be a
like
tour
a
guide.
tour guide.
You can be the one.
There are, not here, like not in the Midwest, but like, they have like schools that you can go to be like an international tour guide.
Yeah.
Where you just take a group of people. And even though I don't have kids, I did used to do, what are those called? Like field trips for my nieces and nephews. So I'm good at corralling people.
I'm totally picturing you. Oh my gosh. I'm totally picturing you. You can be the, at Navy Pier in Chicago, you can drive the boat, when they drive the boat,
Yes.
you can be on the telling everybody
I'm thinking
this is this building and this is this building.
I'm thinking something a little bit more different.
Tower, which is now, what is the Sears Tower now?
Willis Tower. Yeah.
It's all will always be Sears Tower to me. But
something like that, something with travel and tourism, I think I would do. What about you?
Oh, hands down. If I wasn't doing this, like what I always wanted to be was an attorney.
You could do that. I could see that.
Be an attorney.
I could totally see
not
that.
Not an attorney in this space and what I do, not in family building, but definitely like I would like to be an attorney, like a family law attorney or something where
I could see that.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, maybe
that would definitely all right, so these we kind of went over, we already asked, but this is quick. So this is a quick one, and I'll end it here with this one. With this. And these are fun. So, for our listeners out there, and as this podcast is so new, so I'm so excited to
this is a surprise. It's happening.
We're going to end. Yeah. So we're going to end every one of our podcasts with a fun little game with all of our guests. So I think it's important that we do it with each other here. Right?
Okay, great.
All right. So this is yay or nay.
Okay.
So it's yay or nay, and it's no explanation. Just yay or nay. Yes. Okay. Are we ready?
Yeah.
And these are easy. Yeah.
Okay. Guys, easy.
No, these are easy fun. So we're gonna whip through them in probably 30 seconds. Starting the day without coffee, yay or nay? Without coffee.
Nay.
Okay. Social media detox weekends, yay or nay?
Yay.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You already just answered this one. It's kind of living in a tiny house, yay or nay?
Yay.
Ghosting toxic people.
Yay.
Hands down. Absolutely. Working from home in your pajamas, yay or nay?
Yay.
Eating dessert before dinner.
Yeah, yay.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Ditching heels for gym shoes, tennis shoes at formal events.
Yay.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't see you. Like I just see you in heels. Okay. I'm learning so much about you. And these are working while on vacation, yay or nay?
Yay. Oh, I should say that differently. Yay. Yay.
Yay. Work-life balance being overrated, yay or nay?
Nay.
Last one, this is easy. Pineapple on pizza, yay or nay?
Okay.
I'll give her, you can take it or leave it.
It is good. So I'll say yay.
Okay. Wasn't it easy? So that was fun.
Yes. Well, so what were your answers? I feel like I should get to tell them.
Here, you can ask them so I'm not looking.
Okay.
Yeah, and mine are quite different than yours, I think. Similar.
Pineapple on pizza.
Yay. I like you went in a different order. Okay.
Working on vacation, yay or nay?
Yay.
Work-life balance being overrated.
Nay, because I think see, I'll go into explaining and I'll just do yay or nay, but no.
Eating dessert before dinner, yay or nay?
Nay.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm so excited to eat my food that if I eat my dessert, I won't be hungry for it. And I always have room for desserts.
Working from home in your pajamas, yay or nay? Well, you do it in the morning.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yay. Yeah. I guess it depends if you're on but okay. Yay.
I know this.
I'm gonna embrace this again.
Ditching heels or for sneakers or gym shoes at a formal event.
Nay.
I knew you were going to say that. Okay, living in a tiny house.
Nay.
You're like, Bender does that. Social media detox on the weekends.
Nay.
What?
Yeah,
Ghosting toxic people.
Yeah, 100%.
starting the day without coffee.
Nah,
Yeah.
I have to have my coffee.
It's kind of funny because I think we may have touched on some of these in like our questions.
Yeah, so it's funny how it just kind of all panned out. So
I love it.
Yeah, so after each with our guests,
It'll be fun.
It'll be fun, and they're all gonna be. It's not always gonna be yay or nay. It's gonna be different. So,
Perfect.
But this was fun.
It was
Michelle.
fun.
I loved it.
It was
Loved
so fun.
So yeah.
Looking forward to more.
Yes. So
All right.
Thanks everybody for listening.
All right. Bye.
Bye bye.